We're back. Welcome to another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Adult Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. Hosted by your host, me, Sadon Long. Happy Monday, everybody. If you're watching this live on Facebook and or YouTube, it is Monday. If you are listening to it on Spotify, it might be later on in the week. So if you want to get them fresh off the press, please make sure that you go to Facebook and subscribe. My channel is simply Sadon Long, Sadonlong. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, and if you are there, please hit the like button. You know, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get to it. Okay. So recently, I was having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about, so how do you actually do what you do? Okay. Now, what they were meaning is that, like, how do I make money for clients? How do I get the results that I'm getting? Which in most cases have been very, very, very successful results to the tune of seven figures. And not only that, but that money continued to grow. It became a whole lot easier. I had clients who literally took time off and were still making money. Also, it's like, man, and these people now are starting to get into other industries. They're starting to show up on podcasts. They're starting to write books. And if they had books already, the books that they're writing are now putting them in a position to be their own brand. So it's kind of like, you know, looking at me going, well, how do you do it though? Yeah. And I said, well, I use the seven gets, you know, and obviously, nobody really knows what the seven gets is because it's kind of my own personal, well, it's not kind of, it is my own personal formula. Okay. So you say, well, what are the seven gets? Well, the seven gets is a system I created and that I've been using with clients and testing with clients over the last 7 years. And what it does is it not only helps you get more customers, but it helps you then take those customers, get more per sale, get more sales, and then actually take the same customers and turn them into a self-scaling self machine. You know, so self-scaling sales machine. I'm sorry. It's a little bit early. I do these podcasts kind of early, so maybe I haven't quite woken up yet. But again, that's what it does. It does what most marketers do, which is okay, it's going to get you some leads. Yes, it will get you leads. It's going to get you some sales. Yes, it will get you some sales. But that's where most marketers stopped. It's like, okay, I got them some leads, I got them some follows, I got them some likes, I got them some impressions. I'm done. Peace. See you later. I'm out of here. Okay. But I come from sales. I come from sales training. And for me, it was like, okay, but we're only trying to get leads so we can sell them something. We're only trying to get leads because we want to try to monetize the leads that we get. So coming from sales, I knew that just because somebody came in the door didn't make them a great customer. So where it kind of switched up for me is like, okay, well, how do we get our ideal customer? How do we get the person who really wants, really needs, and is willing to pay our price to come and join our mailing list, to buy with us, to follow us, to engage with us, to build a relationship with us? So that was my sales background, which made it a little bit different for me because now I'm like, okay, cool. I got you some leads, but nobody wants the stuff. Now you're not selling anything. And you're looking at me like, well, dude, I feel like you stole my money. So that was step one. And that's really where I started. And, back then, like I said, I was charging like $100 an hour and I made a guy 20 grand. I realized I lost my mind, because wow, I could really do this. Okay. So now, once we got them, because I spent a decade, as a retention specialist, I realized that you wanted to keep your customer, because what would happen is that, customer would come to school, won't talk about what school, but they come to school and they get maybe a certificate. And then what I realized is, okay, the certificate might be worth, let's say it's $15,000 in revenue. But if they then came back and they took another program Maybe they got their master's, or maybe they got a different degree, or maybe they got something else. Now that same school gets another 25, 35, $40,000, and they didn't have to get a new student. They didn't have to sell the student. In most cases, the student would just walk right in and say, "Where do I sign?" So I said, okay, well, how do I apply that to small business owners? Yeah. So what I decided was like, okay, well, if we can create another opportunity, a renewable opportunity that butts up against and is right next to the one that they already have, then you can make more money. You know. So now instead of getting one sale, you're getting two. Okay. So in the process of that, then I really started to see that um, people still weren't making any money though. It's like, okay, cool. I got your sales, I got your repeat sales, but you're still broke. What's wrong? What's not working here? And then I realized that most people aren't selling. Well, not most people. Most of you at home, you're not selling your products at a high enough level. You know, some people, are, but most of you aren't. You're probably sitting at home right now trying to figure out how to get sales. You might be thinking, I'm going to put it on sale, I'll make it cheaper so that people will want to buy from me, which is actually a recipe for disaster. What you end up doing is you end up getting a whole bunch of people who only like it enough to get it for almost nothing. And most of the people who like it enough to get it for almost nothing are not the customers you need to have peace, protection, and prosperity. You know, You're probably saying, well, what the hell is it I need peace, prosperity, and protection from? Okay, so we're going to jump and then we're going to jump back. You at home, you need peace. If you get customers who want it cheap, usually they still want it fast and they still want it good. So now you're stuck. You at home, you're making something you're not going to make a whole lot of money off of, and you're resentful because you know what your work is worth. So now you're doing a project you really don't want to do for some money you really can't do anything with, for somebody who's probably writing you to get it done. So that's why I say, peace. So now, okay, well, what about protection? Okay, you need money to protect yourself. I was having a conversation last night with a friend, and she was talking about, the crime. You know, like, man, look at all this crime. Somebody, broke into somebody's house, and maybe I think I need to get a gun. And you may need to get a gun. You may not need to get a gun. I don't know, but I do know that you want to protect yourself. And when I say protect yourself, I mean you want to be able to live in a good neighborhood. You want to be able to live in a neighborhood where the police come when you call. You want to be able to live in a neighborhood where your kids can play outside. Uh, You want to know that you have enough money to buy an alarm system. You know, I mean, the Ring phone, the Ring thingy, or whatever that thing is. That Nas and those guys, not Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson and those guys made all that money off of. You probably saw on Shark Tank. You know, It's just a home security system. People want to know who's at their door. People want to know. You want to know who's at your door. You want to know who's trying to take your packages. But now imagine if you could get motion sensors. Imagine if you could get floodlights. Imagine if you could now move into a neighborhood and comfortably know that when you and your children go to bed at night, everything's okay. You know, and with that being said, you need better sales. You need more sales. You need sales at a higher price in order to get the type of money to move into those type of neighborhoods. And if you're in those type of neighborhoods, you need to be able to have sustainable success so that you can stay. You don't want to be the person who moves into a good neighborhood or moves into a great neighborhood and puts your kids in this really nice school and buys this really nice house with all this beautiful furniture and these nice cars and these nice clothes, and then your business goes belly up. Right now we're starting to see people who are running out of their PPP money, people who are running out of all of the stimulus money that they got, during and post COVID. So, with that being said, a lot of people are now in jeopardy, unable to protect themselves. Okay. Now, prosperity. You and I both know we can agree on this. You know, you don't go into business hoping to add another bill. You don't go into business and hope that it doesn't put you in a position to live in that nice house. You don't go into business with the idea that I'm going to now have more stress, less money, work longer hours for the privilege of saying I own a business. Now, I've sat down with tons of business owners, and you probably know a lot of business owners too, who honestly are like, and maybe it's you too. We're like, man, if I could just get another consulting job, or if I got an opportunity to get a really good job, I'd shut this business today. And if you feel like that, realistically, I want to help you. Because you're probably good at what you do, good enough to get an income out of it that gives you peace, protection, and prosperity. So in the testing process, I started playing with price. Okay, well, what if we raised it a couple $100? We're gonna go up? Yeah, we're gonna go up. Now I know people are like 50,000, 30,000, 40,000. You know, but you have to test the price elasticity. Elasticity meaning how much can I raise the price without losing customers? Okay, so part of raising price was creating more value, which was instead of talking about your business, I started talking about what your business does, what your business allows, what your business makes possible for other people. So instead of saying, for example, you do lawn care, you know, I started focusing on the fact that you put people in a position to have the best looking house on the block. You put people in a position to make their homes worth more. Homes are an investment. Great landscaping makes your home worth more. You know, you make it easier for your home to sell. You make it easier for realtors to make money, you know, in minutes. You know, so if you're a landscaper, you're a realtor's best friend. You're a homeowner's best friend because I make it easier for you to make more money. I make you the envy of the neighborhood. I make it so that you can now do other things that you want to do because you're not cutting grass and cleaning out gutters and weeding and seeding. You know, imagine what it looked like if your home looked like it did in Better Homes and Gardens. How much better would you feel about you? So, see, now we're not talking about landscaping. We're not talking about the type of lawnmower we use. We're not talking about the seeds. We're talking about what your business can do. I think it's what UPS. What can Brown do for you? So we're talking about what you get out of it. You know, as opposed to what you put into it. The belief is if you hire me, then you'll be able to now make money, now take care of your kids, now take your vacation without worrying about whether or not you're going to be able to come back and have money in your accounts. And you'll be able to do it. And if you've been following the podcast, this is where we start to differentiate ourselves with quicker, faster, easier, with less stress. You'll be able to do it in half the time. You'll be able to do it without even really feeling like you're working. So, my challenge to you right now is to ask yourself, am I getting the most out of my business? Is my business setting me up, for peace, prosperity, and protection? And if it's not, what are you going to do about it? You know, so we started testing. So we test price, started seeing that we could get more per sale, started seeing that we could get more sales, which all of a sudden, surprise, you know, clients started having really huge weeks, really huge months, because now we were getting more per sale. You know? So that was part of that whole getting attention thing. It's like, okay, now we're getting the right attention from the right people, and we're getting them in the pipeline, which is the second get, which is get them to opt in. Okay. Um, Lists are important. You know. Now I'm gonna go through the gets, and I think I'll break them down one by one every day for the next 7 days. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it. But list building is important. Um, you have a list, you have leads, you can go out of business and start it up again. You can go to jail and come back. You could be sick and come back. Because as long as you have your list, you always have access to people who will give you money. If you have a quality list, not just 100,000 people who don't really care about what you do and won't give you any money, won't open your emails, won't come to your events, won't do anything to further your mission, but a real quality list. If you got 500 people or 100 people or 50 people, you can count on if you have an event that they're going to show because they absolutely love what you do and they really need it and really want it and really benefit from it. You can start from scratch tomorrow. Now I'm gonna give a really, probably offensive analogy, and people probably gonna look at me a little bit different. But here's the analogy. Let's just say you went to jail and you were a crack dealer. Okay. So now you get out of jail, you don't have any money. What would you do? You go buy some more crack and you go find your crackheads and sell them crack again. I could have came up with a better analogy, but that's as simple as it gets. You would go back and find your customers. Hey, I'm back. Your customers will then tell other people that used to be your customers, hey man, he back. And after they tested it, they would be like, oh wow, and it's fire. So let's just say you do landscaping. You go away for a few months, take a vacation, you know, recover from a surgery, whatever you do. If you have a list of clients you could call, hey man, I'm back in the country, or hey man, I'm back from vacation, then you can use what we talked about yesterday from Dean Graziano is, are you still interested? Have you solved the problem yet? So now you use that. It's simple. It's not even, 30 seconds. Are you still interested? Have you solved your problem yet? Have you gotten a new landscape person? Are you happy with that person? What day would you like me to come? Why? Because I have a list of people I could call. I have a list of people that I know really love, really like, really need, really want my service. You know, I was having a conversation with Dave. Shout out to Dave and Let's Design Your Site. And Dave just, acquired a partnership with another company. I haven't quite really gotten the name of the company yet, but now they do some really cool things with SEO that they weren't able to do before. So my advice to Dave was, hey, Dave, man, you need to put together a press release and send out an email to all your clients. And if you're wondering if Dave does great work, go look at growingrich.com and tell us what you think. And, you'll see what Dave's work is. So again, send out an email to everybody who's ever done business with you and tell them, hey, we just added a new service. Here's what it'll do. Here's how it will help you. And if you really need help in this area, let's set up a call tomorrow. And because Dave had a list, he was able to do it. Now, if you don't have a list, you need to start building your list. If you do pop-ups, especially, list building is very important when you do the pop-ups and things of that nature, because you can now do pre-sales. So even if you don't have any money, you could do pre-sales, take the money from your pre-sales. If you're an honest individual, don't recommend this if you're not an honest individual. You can then do pre-sales, take the pre-sale money, and then go buy the things you need. And you're saying, well, why would people give me money before they got the product? You use Amazon every day. You order something from Amazon, you pay for it, they send it. You're at least as ethical as Amazon, right? Am I wrong? Okay. Well, if you aren't at least as ethical as Amazon, then you should be. So again, lists are very important. List is very important. So you need to be doing that every chance you get. Can I get an email? Can I get, some contact information? No different than, when we were kids. I know kids now they get your DM and stuff, but when we were kids, you had to get a phone number, because I want to keep in touch with you. I want to take you out. I want to do something with you that's fun for you. So same principle. So then, the third step in the seven gets is you got to get them to buy, which means you have to have products, which means that you have to offer your services. You've probably done a ton of videos. You've probably done a ton of Facebook Lives. You've probably been in a ton of different environments where you didn't ask for the sale and you could have gotten it. You could have asked for the phone number and she could have gone on a date with you. You could have, asked him, if he wanted to get some coffee and he would have gone, but you didn't ask. I come from sales and recruiting. You know, went to school for marketing, but I come from sales and recruiting. So I started out wanting to be a marketer. Then, somewhere along the lines, I started having too much fun, and the school asked me, to do something with my time other than attend. So, with that being said, I got into sales. And one thing that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, there are very few times that you're going to get a sale unless you ask for it. If I don't ask you to buy, then how do you buy? You know, so again, just getting in the practice of saying, "Oh, by the way," or "Oh, one more thing." See, when you say, "Oh, by the way," now everybody freezes because they want to know what you're going to say next. You know, And that's where you say, if you'd like to buy this product, click the link below. Oh, by the way, if you'd like to set up an appointment, just go over to grownerrich.com, click the Make Money Fast button, and I'll call you back within 24 hours. And we'll set up a meeting. It's not uncommon for people to meet with me and be making money in less than 15 minutes. So you got to ask. You got to have products and you have to ask. You could say, hey, I'm in business, but if you don't say, here's how you do business with me, you're going to leave money on the table, which is going to affect your ability to be at peace, to be protected, and to enjoy prosperity. So, yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to get up in the morning and say, hey, man, I got to, even if I'm afraid, I got to ask people to buy. And a lot of times you're not asking people to buy because you don't feel confident in the benefit of what it is that you do. You're too busy focusing on what's in it and hoping that because you don't like to sell and because you don't like to ask for the sale, that people will just kind of support you. So now you do this soft, passive thing when people really need you to be direct. People need you to have strong, confident conversation for them. You need to buy this today. This is going to help you. Because again, people are solution shopping, solution searching. So if they're searching for a solution, there's nothing wrong with you holding up a sign that says solution right here. Confidently. You know the problem. You got their attention because they think that you can solve the problem. So now you have to then say, here's how you solve the problem, and here's how you get the solution. Click the link, go to the page, Cash App, buy your ticket, whatever it is, you got to ask. And too many people are asking for support and not sales. Don't be one of those people. So again, you know, oh, that's right. We got four more. I was about to move on, but we got four more. So yeah, you got to get them to stay. So that's number four. You have to get them to stay. How do you get them to stay? By teaching them something, by giving them insight. I use something called the Usher method. Not Usher the R&B singer, but more Usher like when you go to church Usher. Okay, and what the Usher method is you want to be able to predict their future. In other words, this is what's going to happen next. You know, Typically you go to church, you're standing out there, they'll tell you exactly where you are right now, and then they'll tell you what's going to happen next. Right now you can't go in, they praying. Oh, in a minute they're gonna take offering. And then they usher you into the building and find you a place, a strategically advantageous place to you, where you could see, where you could enjoy, where you could praise, where you could worship, where you could get the maximum benefit of your church experience. And if there's not enough room for you, they get people to move out the way so you can get a spot. So that's what an usher does, and I use the usher method. So again, I want to be able to tell the client, hey, here's where you are right now. And identify where they are right now. Hey, you're doing this a month. Here's the areas where you could probably add a few dollars. Here's the areas where you could probably make a little bit more money. And if you do it, here's what you're going to get over the next 6 months. Again, if you're listening to me right now and you start doing the 7 gets before Christmas, you're going to put yourself in a position to have a huge run, because you're going to go into Christmas where people have to buy. Then you're going to come out of Christmas where people who didn't buy during Christmas have to buy. And then you're going to roll right into tax season where people have money to buy. So you're talking about setting yourself up to go from November till about May, where customers either have to buy or have money to buy. And most of the people who didn't buy during Christmas are looking to buy after Christmas. And because they have money, they don't always need to buy it on sale. When we did 600K in 5 months, that was like the first 5 months of the year. People said, hey, man, I want to get into a new industry. I want to do something new. And those tax returns started rolling in, and they had been watching videos and learning lessons and being ushered, into worship, being ushered into, our, business at the time. And what happened was all of that goodwill we given, all of that, edutainment, as I call it, made people know that we were the obvious choice. So even when we were dealing with people who really wanted and really needed it, there was still a whole nother group of people who weren't really sure, who were watching. So you got to get them to stay. And especially when you get new customers, you get a new customer to stay, they take one program or they use the product and then they need to re-up. So you get the re-ups, and now you keep them longer. But the way to keep them is to keep them engaged. Keep them involved, be interesting, be insightful. So that's number four. And again, most marketers are long since gone home. They took your money, they got you some follows, some likes, some views, and they left. We're still here because we're building a system, self-scaling sales machine system. Okay. So now you get them to buy again. We talked about it all the time. What's better than one sale? Two. So you get them to buy again. So we've gotten their attention, we've gotten their information, we've gotten the sale, we've gotten them to stay, we've gotten them to get us another sale. And in the process, we've also raised the price. So we've gotten more per sale. So when you get them to stay, you get another shot at selling them something. When you get them to stay, you get another opportunity to make money with them. You get another opportunity to help them. You get another bite at the apple, so to speak. And if you're a business owner, how many apples do you got, and how many bites do you get to get? So Now we're at 5. So here's the last two. And the last two, these are my favorites. Again, like I said, I've been testing this with clients. So, you maybe be able to go out through the internet and see some of the stuff I've done, and how it's worked. You might be able to see me doing podcasts with clients or former clients. Google my name, YouTube my name. You'll see. So anyway, the next two are, you want to be able to get them to demand. Um, there's I guess it's real. I'm showing my age. I'm sorry, but I guess it's real. And the guy talks about why you ain't famous yet. And, part of the reason, he feels like, you know, he's not famous yet is because people are not sharing his stuff. But here's the reality. Sharing is cool, but demanding is better. You know, and you need to be in a position where people demand to do business, that you do business with other people. If you're not using my guy, you tripping. You know, if you start this project and he's not on it, I won't be on it. You need a demander. You know, and demanding and net promoting go hand in hand. The net promoter is something that you're probably not that familiar with, but you see it all the time. And what it is when people ask you this question, how likely are you to recommend us to your friends on a scale of 1 to 10? What they're trying to identify is the net promoters. They're trying to identify people who put between 8 and 10, because they'll know those people, and if you go back and look at old videos of mine, you'll see it. I talk about core customers, but that's what they're looking for. People who will buy 4 to 1, you know, because, the net promoters, those people will buy multiple times from you. They will post, they will share, they will engage, they will bring other people, you know. So here's how that works. You get a customer. So now that customer really loves what you do. They really like it. They really enjoy it. They really benefited from it. So you say, hey, we're having a small VIP sale on a Sunday, and you can bring one other person. Your net promoter is the person who's going to say, well, can I bring 4 people? You know, your promoter is going to be the person who's going live, who's checking in, who's taking pictures of their food. So you need to identify those people, so that you can then be in business with those people. See, when you identify them, now you can do what the last step is, which is then make them a star. You know, if you go back, if you go to YouTube, I guess you could Google you. I mean, I guess you could YouTube students to stars and it'll come up. But what you'll see is you'll see me and a former client. We're interviewing some of his former students, and we're asking them a series of questions that are scripted and show the evolution of how they not only decided to get into the industry, but also what their fears and trepidations were, how we overcame those fears. And then they get to talking about, well, what do you think about the person who you're doing business with? How do you feel about them? So they talk about the impact that the owner has made on their lives. And then they talk about their success. So here it is. It's like, okay, so what were you doing before? Okay. Why did you need to leave that industry, or why were you feeling called to do something different? Okay. How did you pick this program? Okay. How did you know this was the right program to pick? And what was different about this program than the other ones? Okay. So how did you know it was working? When did you realize that you can make money doing this? What made this program the right program for you? And if you had to do all over again, would you do it? So now you taking a client who's excited about their success, whether it's weight loss or whether it's the big event that they've had, whether it's the wedding they've had, whether it's what you've done for their car. And what do? You promote them. You promote their business, you promote their success, you promote them. And now other people are sitting at home and it builds trust and it attracts other people. So now when you're sitting there and they're saying, well, if it wasn't for, Miss Johnson, I would have never done this. I was sitting at home, and it now takes that person who wants to do this and it gives them a reason to do it. Because basically your client is doing all the work. So now you have identified the top, 4 or 5% of your clients who will bring you other customers, who will probably bring you tons of other customers. You've then taken your most successful clients and partnered with them. In some cases, maybe you actually are doing business with them. Maybe they have a program of their own and now you're partnering with them to sell their program, but also in the process, you've elevated yourself because they've talked about how wonderful you are, how different you are, how impactful you are, which is now giving the testimonial a whole lot more credibility, because it's more detailed and because we structure the questions, we're asking the right questions. You're not just getting somebody say, man, you need to check my boy out. He cold with it. No, you're getting somebody who says, I tried a lot of other programs. And when I tried those other programs, the people, I couldn't get in touch with them. I couldn't open the products that they were sending me and I wasn't able to get a benefit from it. But then when I saw this person, I was able to pick the phone up. I called them, they answered, they worked with me, they held my hand, they went through the whole process with me. And now that I've gone through the process, here's what I'm able to do. So that's how we get to the point where you're able to not only have a self-scaling sales machine of a business, but now you've been able to open up a whole nother lane for you as a brand. Because when you start to have success and you have practices and systems that you can then turn into products, now people want to hear your story. They want to hear how you went from sales clerk to seven-figure earner. They want to hear how you got out of prison and you started your own company and now, you're worth whatever you're worth. One of the reasons we wrote the big picture, shout out to Dwayne Ramsford, is because he is a kid who comes from just outside the projects. He is a kid who, some people said had learning disabilities. Doesn't really look like he has any learning disabilities now, by the way. But he's a kid that was counted out, and he tells a story about how, you know, he fought his way through, everything that he did, each and every step. And then, we put practical steps on the back of that, that you could then use to get a better result for yourself, which is why it is the number one book for people who do not come from money, who are trying to get money, because there are components of the 7 gets sprinkled all throughout the book. And then there's all these beautiful, wonderful strategies and stories from somebody who actually made it. So who do you want to hear from? Do you want to hear from a guy who made it or somebody who did? Do you want to hear from somebody who looks like you who made it or somebody who doesn't look like you? So the fact that you made it gives you a platform. It gives you credibility. So now you can write that book. You can start that podcast. Again, I'm starting a podcast. We're only at episode 11. Someday we'll be at episode 111 or 211, 311. I'm committed to it, by the way. So again, you can't start it if you have nothing to teach. You can't start it if you have nothing to talk about, at least not as a business owner. Yeah, you could talk about dating and complain about, how unfair the dating pool is and the pee in the dating pool. Or you could use the 7 gets, and become a 5-star business owner. who's able to attract the type of women or men that you like to attract because you become successful enough to get on their radar. So now there's no pee in your pool. You're attractive. You're sought after. By people of the same or opposite sex, as well as business owners, and you're able to now leverage and monetize a whole nother stream of income. If you're successful, now all of a sudden you're the one that they want to come speak at their conference. You're the one that they want to speak at their women's group. You're the one, that they want to feature in their magazine. Because you're getting success. So with your success, it opens up a whole nother lane as an influencer. You know, so again, that and what makes it different than anything that you're used to doing, that you're used to getting, is most marketers just stop with leads. They're not teaching you how to convert them. They're not teaching you how to raise price. They're not teaching you how to build a self-scaling sales system that then opens up you as a thought and brand leader. They're not teaching you how to develop products and systems that you can then sell and monetize. And the cool part about it is the majority of the work is done by the system and by the clients. You just get to sit back, ask the scripted questions. They give the answers. You post it to YouTube. You post it on your website. People watch it. People see it, and they're impressed. Because it's a whole lot easier when somebody else says you're great than it is when you say you're great. So you get the benefit of this without even really doing any of the work. And if you ask questions like, "How likely are you to, recommend this to your family, friends, or coworkers?" and they put between an 8 and a 10, then you already know, like, oh wow, oh, okay, these are people I need to reach out to. These are people I need to offer something to. And they're probably your most successful people, which is part of the reason they're 8, 9s, and 10s. So it does two things at one time. And all you did was ask one question. So again, it's different. It is very different than what marketing people do, because most marketing people, and yes, I'm giving it air quotes and I'm being a little bit, tongue in cheek with it, but most of the time, it's just about, okay, how do we get people to see it? And they're talking impressions. Oh, wow. Look how many impressions we got. You know, oh, wow. Look how many views we got. But if you're a business owner, which I expect you to be if you're watching this, you need something that is going to provide you with peace, prosperity, and protection. You can't eat impressions. You could have 1 million views and go viral, but if you didn't get one sale, would it be worth it? You know, um, yeah. If you're a beast, of a YouTuber or a TikToker, yeah, you can make a great living. But those people, that is their life's work. That is what they do. That is their job. You are a business owner. You don't have the type of time that it takes to figure out how to get 1 million views 100 times so that some brand will then pay for your followers. But what you can do is you could get 1,500 you get 1,500 views and 15, 20 sales. And then you get really good at it, depending on your product. And then maybe start to see a little sponsorship money come in on top of the sales that you've been getting, on top of everything else, because hey, you'll become the sought after thought leader. So again, you have an opportunity with the 7 gets to go all the way from getting attention to building a self-scaling sales machine. And I say self-scaling is because the customers are bringing you more customers. So you don't have to do anything other than make sure that you're answering the questions consistently long enough for people to get into your pipeline. And once people get into your pipeline, you close them, you keep them, you nurture them, you help them, you do what you're good at. You're good at that part. So because you're good at that part, makes it easy. Now, with that being said, why is the 7 gets important? Because it gets you, business owner, peace, prosperity, and protection. You know, it allows you not only to just survive, but thrive. You know, to be safe, to know that your cars are paid for, and your house and is taken care of. It's paid for. You got enough money to pay your taxes. To know that your kids are taken care of. So either they can work in the business or they can benefit from the money that the business has made. So you get that safety as well. But then you also get status. And we talk about status differently here. Here status is less about impressing other people and more about not being embarrassed and ashamed. You know, because you want to walk into a room and know that the people in the room respect you. You want to walk into a room and know that you're not going to be embarrassed. That what you drove up in and what you worn and how you look and how you're perceived and how your business is perceived allows you to escape scrutiny. Nobody's in like the room talking about, oh my God, he's a scammer. Oh my God, did you hear, that they came and, they kicked him out. Oh my God, did you hear, like you want to avoid that. You want to be in a position of strength to where people are saying, hey man, you got a great business. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on your award. And at the same time, be making money. So that's why it's important. So now the next question is, when can you get the 7 gets? 7 gets is available November 1st. You'll be able to start pre-selling. So you need to go now over to grownorich.com and click the make money fast button. If you want to call, we'll set up a call and I'll do the call with you. Like I said, it's not uncommon for people to be making money in a few minutes. So that's why it's make money fast. And then I'll send you out a link and you can pre-order. And if you pre-order it, you'll get some special items. I have not quite identified which special items I'm going to give you yet. But one of them is going to be an ebook. And then also we're going to build a workshop to not only allow you to get the 7 gets, the program, but also for the next 30 days after you get it, starting November 1st, we'll be running a class that teaches you and you can ask questions that you could tell me about what's going on in your business as a group so that we can then see the benefit of it and you actually know how to use it, execute it, implement it, and see the results of it. Because we don't just want to sell you something and then walk away from you. We want to be there holding your hand, doing live training on how to make each one of these steps as impactful as possible. And that way, when Christmas comes, because like I said before, you are in position to put yourself on a really great run. Christmas, New Year's resolutions, tax time. You should be able to have the best 6 months of your life after using and learning the 7 gets. So that's how you get it. Again, that is the episode for today. I appreciate you for hanging in there with me for 49 minutes at this point. I thank you very much. I hope that has been helpful. Please make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, this is your business big bro, aka the most dangerous man in marketing. I love you, I respect you, and I believe in you, and I am out. Mhm.